Remember, all of the following are just extra tools that you can use to either make your life easier or improve the quality of your projects. The biggest tool is you. That came out wrong. What is up, people? Dunna here, and today we're talking about 10 of my favorite accessories that I personally use for my photography and videography. But first, I want to ask you, what's your favorite accessory? Leave a comment below, and while you're on your way down, hit that like button. Last year, I released a video of 5 accessories that I thought were really awesome, but I'm always expanding my kit and there's always more accessories out there, so welcome to the 2019 version with twice as many items because I have no chill. However, I promise I won't say gaff tape. Gaff tape is awesome, but everyone says it, so I'm leaving it off the list. As always, links to the gear that I'm going to talk about today, as well as all my other gear, are in the description, or you can go to kit.com/dunnadidit and check out my kit. Using any of the links to purchase supports the channel and doesn't cost you any extra, so thanks in advance. Alright, let's get to the list. Number 1 is a fairly new addition to my kit, a C-stand. I put off getting a C-stand for a really long time because I just didn't get it. They're big, they're bulky, they're heavy, they're pretty expensive, but then once I got one, I fell in love with it. If you don't know what a C-stand is, it's basically a light stand on steroids. Typically, like I am right now, I use my C-stand to float my rim light above and behind me, but you can also mount a tripod head on it and get cool overhead shots. They can handle a decent amount of weight, and I've never worried even having a light with 2 big batteries floating way out on the end of the arm. The one that I got is from a brand called Newer on Amazon, and I was a little worried at first that maybe the quality wouldn't be up to snuff, but I've been really happy with it. Number 2 is the Feel World Master MA5 Field Monitor. Having an external monitor can be really helpful for anyone, but especially for people who don't have flip screens like Sony users. This specific monitor is a budget-friendly option compared to a lot of others, but still packs in a lot of features. It ships with mounting options to attach to your camera, cables, and a case, which is really cool. And inside the monitor itself, it has some really helpful features like histogram, false colors, and the ability to horizontally flip or vertically flip the picture so that you can film yourself. Now, even if you're not filming yourself, having a bigger and brighter screen can be really helpful, especially when you're trying to film out in daylight. Like I said, there are tons of other options for field monitors out there, but I do like this one as a bang for buck option. Number 3 is the Roland R07 external audio recorder. This little audio recorder is so cool. It's got stereo microphones on the top, which are great for either getting sound effects or ambiances, and it's also got an input on the top so that you can plug in a lav mic or the ever popular Rode camera microphones. The input on this unit will sound better than most inputs on cameras, and having an external recorder will actually give you more flexibility with mounting options for where you can have your microphone. One of the ways that I really love to use this is when I'm recording with a lav mic. I plug it into the 3.5mm jack on top, I toss this in my pocket, and I can actually control it with an app on my phone, so this never has to come out of my pocket until I'm done recording. Speaking of audio, number 4 is the Rode Video Micro. I don't know how, but this thing is so small and sounds so good and still isn't really that expensive. Not to mention you don't ever have to deal with batteries. I recently did some shootouts with this and some other microphones that I use, and I was blown away with how this stood up even to microphones that cost 3 times as much, like the Rode Video Mic Pro. When I'm out and about shooting, this microphone stays on my camera 99.9% of the time. Number 5 are the Valeray photography gloves. I live in Canada, and in case you haven't heard, it's really cold here a lot of the time. I've tried to go out and shoot during the winter before, and even in what we would consider fairly mild conditions, I barely last 10 minutes of taking my gloves on and off to adjust settings on my camera. My hands feel like they're going to fall off and shatter on the ground. But not anymore. First and foremost, these gloves are just fantastic gloves. They do a great job of keeping my hands warm in fairly cold conditions. But also, they have a really cool feature where the thumb and index finger fold back and are held by a magnet so that you can access the settings on your camera with your fingers. This is basically a genius idea. I've had other gloves that have this kind of a feature before, but none of them were really good enough to stand up to the Canadian winter. Not only do these gloves stand up to the cold winter, but also they've got a bunch of different models for different temperatures and different situations. Number 6, clamps. They're cheap, they're strong, they're small, and they come in handy so often. They're good for holding up backdrops or light modifiers, or if you want to attach gear together. They just come in handy all over the place. One of the places I really like to use them is to hold diffusion material to my lights. And I'm currently using 4 different clamps for something that we'll be talking about a little bit later. Number 7 is for the vloggers out there, and for everybody else too. It's the Manfrotto Pixie Evo Mini Tripod. This has been my go-to vlogging tripod for the last little while. I kind of got sick of hauling around the big, bulky Joby GorillaPod. It's still really useful, but this is a lot more sleek and easy to carry around. It's compact, it's versatile, it's strong, it can hold pretty heavy loads. It has 2 different settings for how wide the legs go, as well as the legs extend to make the tripod taller. And I just really love how small it folds down so I can toss it in my backpack. You might not be able to wrap it around a pole, but meh. Number 8 is the Wandered Provoke 30-liter camera backpack. Now in general, I suggest investing in a good camera backpack. I was pretty hesitant to go with this one at first because it's really not cheap, but in the end, I'm really glad that I did. What I really wanted from a camera bag was something that I could carry all the camera gear I would need, but also carry other things for just daily life or travel too. There are a lot of camera bags that are mostly camera bags and don't have a lot of room for anything else in them, and I didn't want to run into that problem. On my last vacation, I was able to take all the camera gear that I wanted, my laptop and charger in the main compartment, and then in the roll top, I took 7 days worth of clothes, toiletries, snacks, and anything else that I wanted. When I'm not traveling, I can fit my gimbal or a light or even just my lunch for work in the top compartment. And if I'm not using the roll top, I just fold it down and it looks like a more normal size backpack. Number 9 that stays in my backpack 98% of the time is a cable organizer or packing cube. This specific one is a Bag Smart cable organizer, and it holds my notebook in the front, it holds my chargers, my cables, my hard drives, pretty much anything that I'll need at any given time. So when I show up at wherever it is that I'm gonna do some work, I just pull this thing out, and then rather than having to dig through my backpack for any little things that I might need, they're all right here. And number 10 are packing blankets. Now, I don't keep packing blankets because I move a lot. I keep them for 3 reasons. 1, they can make a good backdrop if you need them to. 2, they can block light if you need them to. And 3, my personal favorite and most used one that I've been using since I was in high school, for sound absorption. Now, they're not as good as actual proper sound absorption panels, but they definitely do the trick. I live in a rented apartment, so I can't do anything really permanent for acoustic treatment. Also, I record these videos in the main living area in our apartment, so I have to have something that I can set up and tear down with ease. So basically, I've got a packing blanket here and a packing blanket here, clamped using those handy clamps to a backdrop stand on this side and a microphone stand on this side, and it helps with the reverberation in the room. So those are 10 of my favorite accessories. Remember to hit the like button and subscribe on your way down to leave a comment telling me what your favorite accessory is, and I'll see you next time.